When his farm is in danger of being sold, a rooster must find his inner strength to beat a boxing champion and get the money to save everyone. Today we're going to recap the story of the movie, Huevos, Little Rooster's Excellent Adventure, from 2015. In the kitchen of a beautiful house, a monstrous-looking woman is preparing to roast a group of eggs and bacon. They scream for help, but the woman puts them all in the pan and bathes them in oil. Just then, a hero bursts through the kitchen window. Toto, the avenging egg. He flies in at hypersonic speed and punches the old woman, who falls to the ground unconscious. However, the eggs are still roasting in the pan and are screaming for help. At that moment, the superhero uses his freezing breath to cool the pan and then takes everyone safely away. Later, Toto and his new friends team up to save other eggs in danger. They go to a park and see an egg called confit being thrown by a boy. Fortunately, the superhero manages to catch it in the air just in time. The group continues to explore the park and suddenly they meet a juggler who does tricks with an egg called Bibi. He throws her up, but as he prepares to catch her, the man steps on a bottle and falls to the ground. Bibi is about to crash, but Toto's friend Willy flies in with his magic broom and manages to catch her at the last second. With the group formed, the eggs and bacon decide to create a team of superheroes, the League of Avenging Eggs. The whole incredible story is told by Confit, who has invented everything to impress the little eggs in a henhouse. Confit goes on to say that, after this, the hero Toto transformed from an egg to a powerful rooster, but seconds later, he appears to be just a simple chicken. When night comes, the children go to bed and the group of friends say goodbye, but first, a beautiful hen called Dee catches the chicken's eye. The two go to talk alone by a pond, but a restless frog gets in the way. They go to find somewhere more comfortable, but then Dee's father, the cockerel Don Alfonso, appears. He starts to talk about his career as a boxer, but this reminds Toto of the fight that will take place tonight, so he leaves. Minutes later, he meets the grandson of the farm's owners and the two of them listen to the fight together on the radio. At that moment, in the ring, the fight between the cockfighting champion, Bankai-Void, and the challenger, a yellow-breasted chicken, is about to begin. The fight begins and the champion starts throwing a lot of punches and jabs at his opponent, who has no reaction. The champion ends his sequence of punches with a hook to the chicken's beak, who falls to the ground, unconscious. The referee starts counting, but the challenger gets up and tries to resist. In the midst of the blows he receives, the chicken still manages to punch the champion in the face, who falls back. However, the blow has little effect on him and Bankai-Void jumps towards his opponent and knocks him down with a double punch. Thanks to this blow, the champion wins the fight by knockout and, according to the rules, his owner receives the loser's farm as a prize. The next morning, Toto picks up the daily newspaper, which shows Bankai-Void's victory. Shortly afterwards, Don Alfonso appears and tells the chicken that today is the day he should practice his cock crowing. He takes Toto to the top of the barn and tells him to sing, but his voice is so bad that it makes all the animals on the farm, and even on the neighboring farms, uncomfortable. To make matters worse, a few minutes later Granny, who owns the farm, puts up a for sale sign because she can't pay off the debts. After this news, the animals get together to come up with a plan to save their home. Don Alfonso talks about his idea of returning to the ring and, with the prize money, paying off the farm's debts. Everyone agrees with the plan, but to make it work, they need to go to the big city. Just then, they hear the letter carrier arriving at the farm on a motorcycle. The group seizes this opportunity, takes his motorcycle and heads for the city. Hours later, when they get there, they finally find the fighting ring. However, before the fights can begin, they have to find the Godfather egg, the person responsible for placing the bets. While they wait for him, Toto starts to explore the place and sees a fight between two challengers. One of the fighters is a huge, muscular chicken and the other is a fighting master. Despite his size and strength, the muscular chicken is very slow and his opponent manages to dodge his blows easily. The master then uses his spinning kicks to hit his rival, who is finally knocked out. After this fight, the Egg Godfather finally calls the group into his living room. There, Don Alfonso asks to fight again and makes a bet. If he wins, he'll get the prize money to save the farm, but if he loses, his farm will be given as payment. Even so, the Godfather is not satisfied with the bet and sends the group away, but the rooster calls him to talk in private. While they talk, the group goes back to the club and there they meet a beautiful chicken called Sweet Pea, who is giving a musical performance. Toto falls in love with her and calls her to talk, but this makes Dee jealous and she goes after the chicken. Moments later, the champion Bankai-Void shows up and reveals that he is Sweet Pea boyfriend and he gets upset with Toto. Before the atmosphere gets any more tense, the Eggfather appears in the room and says that he has accepted Don Alfonso's proposal, but that he won't be fighting, but Toto. This surprises everyone, including the chicken himself, but he decides to accept the challenge, in which he will have to fight the champion, Bankai-Void. Hours later, the group meets in the middle of a forest on the road to decide how the chicken will train. At this point, Don Alfonso talks about how he used to be a great fighting champion, until one day, he faced an opponent who beat him easily. The problem was that the fighter wasn't a rooster, but a duck in disguise, which made everyone make fun of him. From that day on, he stopped fighting, but now his goal is to find the duck that defeated him so that he can train Toto. Minutes later, the group explores the forest and finds a grove where several ducks live. There, they look for the fighting duck, but there's no sign of him. Instead, the ducks challenge Toto to a rap battle, but he doesn't know how to rhyme and starts getting booed. At this point, Don Alfonso asks them to bring in a duck for a real fight. Seconds later, a fighting duck appears among the leaves and begins to perform various blows to demonstrate his skills. After showing off, the peccary sets out to attack Toto, but suddenly the rooster manages to dodge the blow and the duck crashes into a rock. The chicken celebrates his victory, but soon afterwards, the duck gets up and punches him right in the face and is thrown away. While Toto is recovering from the blow, a tattooed egg known as the duck appears to talk to the group. He says that the duck they are looking for was his father, but he ended up being killed by a crocodile. Fortunately, he knows about his father's training and agrees to train Toto. His first teaching is that the chicken must believe in itself and train its body and mind to the maximum. The next morning, the hard training finally begins. Toto is forced to lift weights, run races with his friends, jump rope and train the strength of his punches. The initial results of his training are not the best, but as his dedication increases, Toto becomes stronger and more agile. At the end of the afternoon, the duck egg undergoes a new type of training, acquiring the skills that only ducks can do, namely flying and swimming. For the first stage, Toto needs to fly like various types of birds, and to do this, he needs to jump from the top of the barn and flap his wings. However, the chicken tries to do this, but ends up falling flat on his face again and again. The second training session takes place in the farm pond, where Toto has to learn to swim. Once again, the results are disappointing. Days go by and the rooster still can neither fly nor swim. However, one morning, when Toto was about to start his flying practice again, Alfonso pushes him off the top of the barn. At that moment, everyone expected him to fall to the ground again, but to everyone's surprise, the rooster finally manages to fly. They continue to follow the training and Toto manages to fly in different ways. The next day, the letter carrier shows up at the farm and warns the owner about the cockfight that is about to take place. She reads an ad in the paper and discovers the whole truth, that her house will be the prize for the fight, which only makes her more worried. Meanwhile, Toto and his friends go to a mountainous area. There, his master gives him another workout, this time in agility. Suddenly, several ducks appear to attack the chicken. Fortunately, he manages to dodge them all with his jumps and pirouettes, which proves to everyone that ducks' training is efficient. His friends celebrate the chicken's performance, without realizing that a vulture is watching from nearby and is leaving. Hours later, the bird appears in a warehouse, where Sweet Pea is waiting for him. He warns her that Toto is training differently and this makes her worry that he has a chance of winning. She then puts together a plan to attack his farm. Meanwhile, Toto is almost ready for the big fight, except for one thing. He still hasn't found his strongest move. Duck and Don Alfonso believe that his strength comes from within and ask him to unleash it through his singing. The chicken tries to sing once more, but his voice is still terrible. Everyone is worried about this, but Dee appears and says that everyone should leave him alone. She kisses him goodbye and soon after, Toto goes back to training. The next morning, the chicken wakes up after a nightmare, in which he is shamefully defeated by Bankai-Void. Everyone tries to calm him down, including the owner of the farm, but he doesn't think he's going to win and runs away. Later, his friends find him in the mountains. They try to calm their friend down once again, but just then a group of vultures appears on the scene. To make matters worse, another flock of birds attacks the farm and starts capturing the chickens. The guard dog tries to protect them, but it's no use and Toto's mother is taken by one of them. Meanwhile, Willie decides to do something to motivate Toto. He jumps on his friend's neck and they both fall off the mountain. Left with no choice, the chicken tries to flap his wings and after much insistence, finally manages to fly. The two then return to the farm, where their group of friends has come back to help the other animals. They realize that Toto's mother has been captured by one of the vultures and the chicken sets off to save her. He attacks the bird, which drops its mother to the ground, but Toto manages to catch her. After that, the chicken flies towards the vultures and Willie jumps onto one of them. The egg pulls out the animal's feathers, causing him to collide with another of the gang. However, they both recover and crash into Toto, which causes him and Willie to start falling. Fortunately, BB flies in on a duck and rescues her boyfriend, while Duck flies in on another duck and manages to catch Toto. Soon afterwards, the master slaps his apprentice to make him wake up. Toto regains consciousness and, together with the other ducks, decides to lure the vultures into the mountains. There, they fly at high speed, while dodging the many rocks around them. This causes some of the vultures to collide with the stones, but others in the flock manage to dodge and even pick up the ducks and throw them against the stones. The situation becomes more complicated and the leader of the vultures grabs Toto with his feet and throws him towards a rock. Luckily, the chicken manages to dodge and continues flying at high speed. The vultures continue to chase him and they head towards a cave. In front of them, a narrow exit appears and Toto has an idea. He orders all the ducks to line up behind him and fly vertically to get through the opening. Thanks to this, the rooster and his duck friends manage to cross the exit unharmed. Behind them, the vultures are flying fast and when they realize that the exit is too narrow, they try to stop, but it's too late. They crash into the passageway and lose their feathers, which causes them to fall over the cliff. Even so, the leader of the flock manages to stop in time and leaves. Minutes later, Toto and the ducks return to the farm, where the chickens appear safe and sound. After everything that has happened, the chicken is more determined than ever to face Benkaivoid. He and his friends get together and fly towards the ring, where the big fight is about to begin. Later, in the ring, several challengers fight each other. Kung Fu fighters, karate masters and boxers compete in fierce duels to prove who is the best. While the fights are taking place, Don Alfonso is training in his dressing room, but to his surprise, Toto shows up to fight. The chicken then joins Master Duck and goes to the ring, where the champion is waiting for the fight. In the ring, the referee announces the participants, along with their owners. The two fighters are wearing their gloves and mouth guards and face each other before the bell sounds. The signal is finally given and the fight begins. Without wasting any time, the champion lands a powerful punch on Toto, who is thrown into the wall and falls to the ground in bewilderment. The referee starts counting, but the chicken recovers and continues the fight. Benkaivoid then runs up to him, but Toto gets scared and starts to run away. At this point, the judge prepares to blow the whistle, because if the rooster continues to run, he will be considered a loser by forfeit, just like Don Alfonso. When he realizes that he could lose everything if he keeps running, Toto stops running and tries to defend himself, but is hit by another punch from the champion and is thrown into the wall. Seeing that his apprentice is in trouble, Duck says that he should remember everything he did during training and let his body act naturally. Toto decides to follow this advice and gets up once again. Benkaivoid then rushes towards the rooster and prepares to throw more punches, but at that moment Toto dodges all of them and goes backwards, which sends the champion crashing into the wall. The rooster recovers and once again throws several punches at his opponent, but Toto remembers his flying lessons and uses the techniques he has learned to dodge all the blows. Thanks to this, the rooster manages to make the champion tired and, when the chance arises, he punches him right in the beak, which leaves him bewildered. Seconds later, the bell rings to end the first round and everyone is impressed by Toto's stamina and technique. Minutes later, the second round begins and Benkaivoid returns with blood in his eyes. He lands a powerful punch on the chicken, who falls to the ground and the referee resumes the count. However, Toto has no intention of giving up. The fight continues and the two opponents attack and defend each other relentlessly. The rounds pass and what looked like a guaranteed fight for the champion becomes one of the longest and most difficult bouts in the history of the ring. This sends the crowd into a frenzy and everyone starts cheering for Toto thanks to his persistence. The two fighters become more and more exhausted and another round comes to an end. While resting, Toto hears Duck say that Benkaivoid hasn't used his best moves yet. This information worries him, but the rooster will continue the fight to the end. The bell announces another round and Benkaivoid rushes towards the chicken to deliver his most powerful blow. He jumps on Toto and throws a double punch that shakes the ground. However, when the sand subsided, the champion realized that his blow hadn't hit him. Instead, the chicken used his flying technique to dodge the attack, which sent the fans wild. Desperate, Benkaivoid continues to throw punches at Toto, but he dodges all of them and counterattacks with sharp blows to the abdomen and beak. The champion begins to stagger, but in a dirty tactic, he throws dirt in the chicken's eyes and punches him in the face. He falls to the ground because of the blow and Benkaivoid steps on him to stop him getting up. The referee starts the count, but Toto gets up again. Even though he's exhausted, the champion begins his sequence of blows, but the chicken already knows his moves and gives him a push, followed by a punch that removes the rooster's lip protector. Just then, the bell rings once again and the fight reaches its final round. When the referee authorizes the fight, Benkaivoid lands several blows on Toto, but he's too tired to continue. The chicken then seizes the chance and throws his strongest punch. Unfortunately, The champion isn't knocked down and Toto realizes that he still hasn't found his inner strength. All his friends tell him to crow like a real rooster. Suddenly, Toto decides to stop for a moment and reflect on his real motivation for fighting. In his mind, memories of the farm and his friends begin to emerge, and he finally understands the importance of this fight and of protecting his home and those he loves. Now aware of what he needs to do, Toto goes on the attack and punches Bankai Void, who tries to hit back, but the chicken dodges and counterattacks non-stop. The fans support him at this point, but the round is about to end. Bankai Void then tries to throw one last punch, but Toto manages to stop the blow with his wings. Finally, the rooster releases all the energy contained in his chest and, with a sequence of punches and a powerful uppercut, he delivers the final blow, accompanied by a crow worthy of a rooster. Thanks to this, Bankai Void falls to the ground unconscious and the referee starts the count. Despite still trying one last effort, the champion falls to the ground and Toto is the winner of the fight. All the fans, as well as their friends from the farm who heard everything on the radio, celebrate this incredible victory. Don Alfonso goes up to Toto and congratulates him, followed by D. Toto finally declares his feelings to her and the two kiss. Just then, Bankai Void approaches the couple, but instead of attacking his opponent, he congratulates him on the fight. Soon afterwards, however, the owner fires his gun and says he won't lose the farm. But, to everyone's surprise, Grandma appears with her handbag and hits the man right on the head, after which he is taken to jail. The next day, the roosters take the money they won in the bet and discover that from the beginning, the big chicken had been betting on Toto's victory. It is also revealed that the vulture's invasion of the farm was a plan by Sweet Pea to ensure Bankai Void's victory. When he finds out, the champion is offended by his girlfriend's attitude and sends her away. With everything settled, everyone celebrates the victory with a big party at the farm, which now has all its debts paid off thanks to Toto. The chicken then gathers with his friends at the top of the barn and, aware of his inner strength, exhales his song for all to hear, finally becoming a real rooster. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.